Welcome to Paramount Recapped. Today we will recap one of the best drama in ever. The story begins with a girl named Hesu who loves a boy named Kang-wook. They share sweet moments, and he often tells her he loves her. They share a passionate kiss. But then, Kang-wook suddenly collapses, coughs up blood, and dies, leaving Hesu in shock. She then wakes up and realizes it was just a nightmare. The following day at school, Kang-wook fixes Hesu's hair but mistakenly calls her by the wrong name. Hesu has a close friend named Si-ho, who she confides in about her feelings for Kang-wook. However, Si-ho seems uncomfortable whenever Hesu talks about him. Hesu is also friends with a younger girl named Si-jin, who works part-time at a cafe with Si-ho. During lunch, Si-jin suggests that Hesu should tell Kang-wook about her feelings, but Hesu is too nervous, thinking he might not feel the same. Si-jin recalls a time when Kang-wook showed concern for Hesu at a party, encouraging her to be brave and confess her feelings at another party that evening. At the party, a new student named Hwan shares beautiful lyrics, impressing everyone. When Hesu shares her own lyrics, they are met with laughter, making her feel embarrassed. She starts drinking heavily despite Si-ho's warnings. Feeling hopeless, Hesu is surprised when Kang-wook compliments her lyrics for being funny and gently pats her head, although he still gets her name wrong. This small gesture boosts Hesu's confidence, but when she finally gets the chance to talk to Kang-wook, she loses her nerve and instead asks him about his favorite part of her lyrics. To Hesu's surprise, Kang-wook admits he was too drunk to remember her lyrics. When Hesu tries to show him her lyric book, she accidentally drops it. Hwan picks it up and remarks that Hesu's lyrics are too plain. Hwan criticizes Hesu, saying she herself is boring and lacks anything special. Later, Hwan asks Hesu to keep her relationship with Kang-wook a secret and leaves with him for the night. Feeling sad and heartbroken, seeing her crush with another girl, Hesu confides in Si-ho, resting her head on his shoulder. Hesu tells Si-ho that Hwan is prettier and writes beautiful lyrics, so it makes sense for Kang-wook to like her. Si-ho disagrees, saying Hesu is prettier and he likes her lyrics. Unfortunately, Hesu is too drunk and falls asleep before Si-ho can fully express his admiration, leaving him a bit disappointed. Hesu wakes up at her father's house, having asked Si-ho to take her there earlier. Checking her phone, she sees a message from Si-ho saying her father is out of town, leaving her alone. Deciding to visit the library, where she found her father crying over old photos of her late mother, Hesu confronts painful memories. Losing her mother and feeling her father's emotional distance after her death weighs heavily on her. She sifts through an old photo album, tears welling up as she sees her parents' happiness before her birth. As Hesu prepares to leave, a green-covered book falls from a shelf, bearing her name on the first page. Startled, she reaches for it, but suddenly the bookshelf shakes violently, books flying towards her. Then, Hesu jolts awake in her own room, realizing the events at her father's house were just a vivid dream. Remembering Hwan's words from the night before, Hesu resolves to write better lyrics than Hwan to impress Kang-wook and the others. However, she finds her lyric book is full, so she searches for another book to replace it. Unexpectedly, Hesu discovers the green book she saw in her dream, and soon after, the atmosphere in her room changes. She hears mysterious voices urging her to take a pen and start writing in the green book. Feeling entranced by these voices, Hesu begins writing. A few days later, Si-ho and Si-jin visit Hesu while she is working at a concert where Kang-wook's senior band performs. Before the concert, Kang-wook announces a new song, My Confession, which shocks Hesu as the lyrics are identical to what she wrote in her green book, despite never showing them to anyone. After the performance, Kang-wook confesses his feelings to Hesu and kisses her forehead, surprising Si-ho and exciting Si-jin, who captures the moment on her phone. The next day, Hesu confirms the lyrics in her book match the song Kang-wook sang. Initially thinking it was a dream, she receives a call from Kang-wook asking her out, making her realize it was real. She feels extremely happy about her crush's confession. Si-ho, though not thrilled, advises Hesu to be cautious to avoid getting Hesuot. During their date, Kang-wook reassures Hesu that Hwan is just a junior and confesses his deep love for her. Hesu hesitates, recalling a dream where Kang-wook died, but his kiss reassures her, and she accepts him as her boyfriend. As they date, Hesu and Kang-wook are very happy, spending a lot of time together. Kang-wook's romantic nature makes Hesu even happier. When Hesu asks why he likes her, Kang-wook says she seems to be growing more affectionate, which confuses Hesu as she doesn't see herself that way. The next day, Hesu overhears her seniors discussing her relationship with Kang-wook. They speculate that he might be under a spell, as he suddenly showed feelings for Hesu, despite his supposed love for Hwan. They disapprove of the relationship, thinking Hesu doesn't deserve someone like Kang-wook and supporting Hwan instead. Although saddened by their words, Hesu can't ignore the strange events since finding the Green Book. Hesu talks to Si-ho about their past night together, and he admits he took her home but avoided her father's place because they weren't on good terms. Then Hesu asks Si-ho about his feelings for her, but he interrupts by hugging her. Meanwhile, Hesu decides to get rid of the magic book and focus on her relationship with Kang-wook, ignoring what others think. She also plans to find a job to support herself and buys a special gift for Kang-wook to express her affection. The next day, Si-jin informs Hesu about seeing Kang-wook with his guitar at a crossroads, but Hesu insists he's out of town. However, when she tries to surprise Kang-wook at his place, she finds another woman's things and catches him cheating. The story then flashes back to when Si-ho joined Hesu's class. Si-ho had been bullied before, which caused panic attacks. At first, Hesu didn't pay much attention to him, but she comforted him when their classmates upset him. During a panic episode in the hallway, Si-ho sought refuge in the storehouse, where Hesu found him and offered him an orange. They became close friends and spent a lot of time together. With Hesu's support, Si-ho recovered from his trauma and regained confidence, enjoying high school life again. Some girls speculated about Hesu and Si-ho being romantically involved due to their closeness, but Hesu clarified they were just friends. One day, Hesu absconded from home and sought solace with Si-ho, confiding in him and lamenting feeling forsaken by all. In reciprocation, Si-ho loaned his muffler to stave off the chill. In contemporary times, Si-ho harbors mild concerns for Hesu, but abstains from intervening in her romantic liaison with Kang-wook, as she appears contented with him. Meanwhile, Kang-wook becomes incensed and forcefully evicts Hesu from his dwelling, leveling accusations of stalking against her. A heated altercation ensues, leaving Hesu aghast, as she did not anticipate Kang-wook's outburst and vituperation. Kang-wook even insinuates that dating her invites misfortune, which deeply wounds Hesu, evoking memories of a kin treatment from her family. The next day, Si-ho visits Hesu to comfort her and suggests getting back at Kang-wook for hurting her. However, despite feeling hurt by Kang-wook's betrayal, Hesu decides not to seek revenge and admits that love isn't her strong suit. Si-ho then encourages Hesu to start writing lyrics again, as she had stopped during her relationship with Kang-wook. Although she doubts her ability, Si-ho urges her to practice regularly. When the magic book is mentioned, Hesu suddenly remembers the green tome she got rid of. Surprisingly, she finds it on her bookshelf, even though she thought she had thrown it away. Hesu's experiments with the Emerald Book reveal its power to manifest romantic desires into reality, albeit with limitations and warnings of potential consequences. Si-ho becomes concerned about Hesu's prolonged silence and eventually learns about the magical properties of the book. Despite his objections, Hesu persists in using it to overcome her heartbreak, even fabricating a romance with a fictional character named Chesun-yang. Jun-young unexpectedly approaches Hesu for a date after she writes her desires in the book. Si-ho remains apprehensive about Hesu's well-being and distances himself from her, prompting Hesu's disappointment. Si-jin, harboring romantic feelings for Si-ho, also makes advances towards him. Si-ho, oblivious to Si-jin's intentions, accepts her gesture, but remains focused on Hesu's welfare. As Hesu continues her dalliance with Jun-young, Si-ho implores her to stop using the book out of concern for her emotional well-being. Moved by his care, Hesu agrees to refrain from seeking love through the notebook. However, despite her resolve, she finds herself drawn into a romantic moment with Jun-young, but pulls away when things become too intimate, prompting an apology from him. During their conversation after drinks, Si-jin bravely admits her feelings for Si-ho to Hesu, who is surprised, but asserts her view of Si-ho as solely a friend. This reassures Si-jin, who had worried about Hesu harboring romantic feelings for Si-ho. Hesu, however, is slightly taken aback when Si-jin mentions her plan to confess. The next day, at a rest stop, Si-ho encounters aggressive students, triggering past trauma and a panic attack. Hesu, worried when Si-ho doesn't return, rushes to find him. Meanwhile, Si-jin seizes the opportunity to confess to Si-ho in a secluded warehouse. Despite his rejection, she pleads for a chance to make him fall for her over a month. Unaware of Hesu's presence, Si-jin attempts to kiss Si-ho, but he avoids it due to his feelings for Hesu. Witnessing this, Hesu leaves, feeling strangely annoyed. Si-ho, meanwhile, struggles with his unspoken love for Hesu, but chooses to stay as her friend. In the following days, Hesu's discomfort with Junyoung grows, and Si-jin advises honesty. Yet, Hesu deflects by asking about Si-jin's confession to Si-ho, which results in them agreeing to try dating for a month, despite Si-ho's lack of reciprocal feelings. During a meeting with Hesu, Si-ho advises her to focus on studies rather than the lyric notebook. However, their conversation leads to tension when Hesu suggests Si-ho date Si-jin, frustrating him as it implies Hesu doesn't reciprocate his feelings. Desperate to express his love, Si-ho tries but ultimately decides to leave, feeling overwhelmed by the complicated situation. Meanwhile, Hesu grapples with conflicting emotions, torn between her loyalty to Si-ho and her desire for his happiness, even if it's with someone else. Upon returning to her residence, Hesu appeared visibly disturbed about the altercation with Si-ho. However, Junyoung, who had just arrived, attempted to console her by suggesting they engage in some enjoyable activity. Initially hesitant, Hesu eventually acquiesced after Junyoung professed his affection for her, and they spent the evening in close company. The subsequent day, Hesu realized she was behind schedule for her menstrual cycle and became anxious about the potential of being expecting. To alleviate her anxieties, she visited a medical professional for a pregnancy examination, which fortunately yielded negative results. Hesu expressed her appreciation to Si-jin for accompanying her to the medical facility and then inquired about Si-ho. Upon arriving home, Hesu inadvertently stumbled upon a message on Junyoung's cellular device, left on the table, where he admitted to a friend that his affection for Hesu was insincere. Enraged by this deceit, Hesu slapped Junyoung and promptly ejected him from her abode. In the ensuing days, Hesu became the topic of campus chatter due to an anonymous article detailing her succession of brief romantic entanglements. Meanwhile, Ko discovered that Junyoung was responsible for the defamatory article, seeking retaliation for being spurned by Hesu. Shortly thereafter, Ko confronted Junyoung, issuing a warning of legal repercussions unless he retracted the article. The scene then transitions to the past, uncovering Hesu's resolution to withdraw from school and her witnessing of Si-ho being harassed. Driven by empathy, Hesu intervened to aid Si-ho. Initially, Hesu's intentions towards Si-ho were solely born out of pity and a desire to exhibit kindness. However, as their camaraderie flourished, Hesu comprehended the depth of Si-ho's compassion, deeming him her most valued companion for consistently standing by her side. Despite frequently disavowing any romantic sentiments for Si-ho, Hesu covertly nurtured such feelings, apprehensive of confessing and risking the loss of the sole individual who genuinely cared for her. Presently, Hesu struggles to suppress her sorrow and tears as she expresses regret to Si-ho. Si-ho proposes pursuing legal action against Junyoung for defamation, but Hesu demurs, acknowledging her own complicity in the situation. Subsequently, Hesu apprises Si-ho of her intention to dispose of the lyric notebook which Si-ho endorses. Shortly thereafter, Si-ho meets with Si-jin to terminate their arrangement, affirming his absence of romantic affections for her. Upon receiving this news, Si-jin is taken aback and disheartened by Si-ho's declaration, but agrees to conclude their association. However, Si-jin overhears Si-ho mentioning the incineration of the notebook the subsequent day, piquing her curiosity about the discourse between Si-ho and Hesu. The ensuing day, Hesu, perturbed by Junyoung's dissemination of injurious rumors about her, decides to report him. Coincidentally, Hesu encounters Hwan, who divulges that she was not the sole target of Junyoung's malice. Apparently, Hwan and her accomplices were genuinely concerned about Hesu and had resolved to provide support through her ordeal. This revelation astonishes Hesu, who had not realized the depth of Hwan and the others' concern for her. She begins to question whether she had misconstrued people's sentiments toward her all along. Meanwhile, Se confronted Jun, questioning his motivations for being fond of Hesu. Si-jin pointed out that when Jun had confessed his feelings for Hesu, he had been eyeing another girl whom they deemed more attractive than Hesu. Si-jin was puzzled by Jun's sudden change of heart, prompting Jun to reveal the truth. At night, Si-jin visited Hesu's place and proposed they have a drink together. In that moment, Si-jin purposefully got Hesu drunk, in hopes she might divulge information about her relationships with numerous guys. When Hesu became heavily intoxicated and passed out, Si-jin began searching the room and found a notebook with lyrics. While reading the notebook, Si-jin stumbled upon Hesu's secret for attracting many boyfriends in the future. However, when Si-jin attempted to erase Hesu's name from the book, she suddenly injured her hand. Shortly after, the scribbles on the book vanished, and simultaneously, Si-jin's hand healed on its own. Witnessing this, Si-jin believed that the lyric notebook was magical and could fulfill Hesu's romantic wishes. The next day, Hesu planned to burn the lyric notebook, but she couldn't find it anywhere, despite searching her room thoroughly. She speculated that it might have disappeared on its own, which seemed unlikely. Si-ho suggested she focus on her studies and resume writing lyrics as a hobby. Thinking Hesu might have hidden the notebook on purpose, Si-ho searched the room's drawers, but ended up tripping and falling on her. Uncomfortable with the close proximity, Hesu tapped Si-ho's shoulder to signal him to get up. As Si-ho noticed Si-jin's declining health at the cafe, he suggested she rest, but she refused his help, not wanting to be treated like a younger sister. Meanwhile, Hesu found herself developing romantic feelings for Si-ho, her heart racing whenever she saw him. Feeling embarrassed and nervous, she tried to avoid him, but found it difficult. Encouraged by Si-ho's advice, Hesu decided to resume writing song lyrics after stumbling upon a pamphlet about a campus song lyrics competition. Writing honestly about her feelings, she imagined Si-ho and recalled their happy moments together, making it easy to compose a song about unrequited love. She eagerly submitted the lyrics and awaited a response. To her surprise, Hesu's lyrics were chosen as the best, and she excitedly prepared to meet with the music club. At the club room, she met Dovin, the vocalist, who praised her work and asked to use her lyrics for a song. Impressed by Dovin's passion, Hesu agreed and was invited to join the club to write song lyrics for their upcoming concert. She accepted, on the condition that Dovin teach her to sing, to which he happily agreed. In the following days, Hesu dedicated herself to writing lyrics for Dovin's band and learning to sing alongside him, finally finding a place where her talents were appreciated and valued. One evening after practice, Si-ho picked up Hesu, and they enjoyed watching a lively fireworks festival together. Suddenly, Si-ho realized he had left his phone in the classroom. However, upon returning to meet Hesu, he accidentally overheard Dovin confessing his love for her. It turned out Dovin had feelings for Hesu even before she sent him the lyrics, keeping his love hidden all along. Meanwhile, Si-ho, upon hearing the confession, felt annoyed and pulled Hesu away from Dovin. He scolded Hesu, accusing her of lying about the missing green lyric book and assuming she was still using it to win over Dovin. However, Hesu firmly denied this accusation, expressing disappointment in Si-ho for thinking she couldn't be loved without the book's magic. Feeling let down by her best friend, she left Si-ho and went drinking to let out her frustrations. After spraining her ankle, Hesu found herself sitting alone and feeling unlucky, tears streaming down her face. Dovin's arrival offered some solace, though she initially lashed out in frustration at him. Recognizing her distress, Dovin remained patient and offered sincere apologies, insisting on helping her despite her protests. As they rode home together on the bicycle, Hesu's mixed emotions swirled, still grappling with doubts about Dovin's feelings and the absence of the magic book's influence. Despite her reservations, she couldn't deny the sense of fulfillment in finally experiencing a moment she had long dreamed of. At Si-jin's apartment, the confrontation between Hesu and Si-jin escalated quickly, with Hesu accusing Si-jin of stealing the green lyric book and manipulating Dovin's feelings. Despite Si-jin's denial and feigned ignorance, tensions soared as jealousy and frustration bubbled to the surface. Hesu, unaware of Si-ho's affection for her, was blindsided by Si-jin's accusations, leading to a heated argument and Hesu's expulsion from Si-jin's apartment. Meanwhile, Dovin struggled with fatigue and lack of inspiration during band practice after Hesu rejected his love confession. His bandmates grew increasingly frustrated with his distracted demeanor, especially with an upcoming concert looming. On the other hand, Si-jin, waiting for Si-ho outside the cafe, found herself in a daze when he expressed concern about her health. In her distraction, she accidentally dropped the stolen green lyric book, revealing to Si-ho that Hesu hadn't written about Dovin at all, and the book had been in Si-jin's possession all along. However, Ko admonished Si-jin for her assumptions, cautioning her about the potential consequences of her actions. Si-jin then shocked everyone by confessing that she hadn't written about Dovin, but had replaced Hesu's name with her own in the book, experiencing only terror and fear instead of the love miracle Hesu had encountered. Meanwhile, Hesu and Dovin discussed the magic of the green lyric book, with Hesu assuming his feelings stemmed from its influence. To her surprise, Dovin revealed that he had fallen for her months ago at a concert they both attended, proving his feelings were genuine and not influenced by the book's magic. He confessed his long-standing affection for Hesu, even during times when she seemed involved with someone else, culminating in their eventual connection. As Dovin professed his genuine love for Hesu, unaffected by the green lyric book, she was flooded with memories of a past argument with her father, which had led her to run away from home. Upon receiving news from Si-ho about her father's accident while searching for her, Hesu rushed to the hospital, where she overheard her father expressing regret about her existence. This reinforced Hesu's belief that she brought bad luck to others, leading her to feel undeserving of love. Dovin, however, insisted that Hesu was surrounded by caring individuals like Si-jin and himself, asserting her worthiness of love and happiness. Despite her fears, he urged her to accept love and care from those around her. Meanwhile, Si-ho accompanied Si-jin, who was still troubled by her hallucinations, and Si-confessed her own attempts to use the green lyric book to win Si-ho's affection. Realizing that Si-ho would never reciprocate her feelings, Si-jin asked to be left alone. Reflecting on past moments with Si-ho and Si-jin, Hesu resolved to mend their friendship and return to how things were before. When Si-ho returned the green lyric book, Hesu decided to write something on its last page to help Si-jin, despite Si-ho's concerns. Refusing to disclose whose name she would write, Hesu assured Si-ho that everything would be fine. Upon returning the book to its original spot in her father's library, Hesu prayed for its magic to vanish, but to no avail. Unexpectedly, her father revealed that the book was her mother's journal, chronicling her pregnancy with Hesu until her passing. Seeing her mother's words and photos, Hesu finally understood her parents' love for her, leading to a newfound appreciation for herself and a resolve to care for herself better. Hesu confronted her father, wondering if he blamed her for her mother's death, feeling guilty for her existence. She revealed her painful thoughts about overhearing him in the hospital, believing her birth had caused her mother's suffering. Her father, surprised and saddened, clarified that he meant he wouldn't have made it without her, emphasizing her importance to him. He apologized for unintentionally making her feel unloved and explained her mother's death was due to illness, not her. He asked her grandmother to cherish Hesu and expressed his love for her. This heartfelt conversation led to reconciliation, and Hesu began to value herself, understanding that self-love is crucial for others to love her too. Upon returning home, Hesu started writing something on the final page of the book. The following day, Si-jin awoke feeling relieved as the haunting terror had vanished, and she started feeling better, realizing that Hesu must have inscribed something on the ultimate page of the poetry book. Si-jin immediately contacted Si-ho to ask about Hesu's well-being. Si-ho, also concerned about Hesu, reassured Si-jin that she would be okay before visiting Hesu, who seemed anxious about Se-jin's state. Si-ho informed Hesu that Si-jin was all right, but then, surprisingly, confessed his affection for her. He admitted to harboring feelings for Hesu for quite some time, and assured her that he didn't mind whose name she wrote on the last page of the poetry book, because he would still fancy her regardless. Si-ho then divulged his intention to enlist in the military soon, and implored Hesu to wait for him. After some time, Hesu finally realized her aspiration of becoming a vocalist by organizing a small concert with the help of Dovin and his bandmates. As Hesu commenced singing on stage on her first performance, the audience delighted in her performance. In the end, Si-ho arrived at the concert with flowers for Hesu. There, Hesu spotted him in the crowd and smiled contentedly as she continued singing. The series concluded.